Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to All About Sports. Major League Baseball has officially announced a plan to return to play that features players reporting for training camp by July 1st, leading up to a proposed 60-game regular season schedule anticipated to begin on July 23rd and 24th. I'm your host, Luca Vitale, and joining me again are the dynamic duo of Just Talking About Sports. All right, Matt, I'm coming to you first. How excited are you for the return of baseball?
Let me first start by apologizing to everybody who's watched our videos because I am caught on record saying that I thought there was no chance MLB comes back this year because it looked like negotiations were never going to work. I was wrong. They made a plan. They decided, okay, let's stop being little you-know-whats and let's make a plan. They got one down, 60 games, which for me makes this the most exciting MLB season we've ever had because it's not 162. Sorry, that always will bug me. For everybody who watches MLB, you can't not be excited at the fact there's less games. I am so sick of 162. For the first 2 weeks, you're like, oh my God, baseball's back. And then you're like, oh my God, when does this end? Seriously, that's how it works with the MLB. I'm very pleased that they are doing this. They've shortened their schedule. Hopefully they go back to it in the future too, because I think that this will work out well. I have high hopes for the MLB. I hope that they use the proper testing for Corona. They keep everybody safe, their athletes safe, the whole traveling goes smooth. Obviously, you're going to have cases. You're going to have teams that are going to have to sit players. Pitching rotations are going to suffer. You're going to need to rely on those reserve players that normally don't get as much time because you need to prepare for your players needing to be stuck for 2 weeks in quarantine while they are testing positive. The MLB is going to learn from the first 2 weeks what they need to do. I'm excited to see it go down. That is all.
Yeah, the MLB is – I know I said because the MLB thing, I even wore this little baseball shirt for the hype of the fact that it's actually back. But just to be able to talk about the MLB, because the only thing that we've been able to talk about is how greedy these owners and these players have been going back and forth, and the fact that we could finally say, shoot, they're coming back July 24th. It's another date on the calendar. We've already got the NBA and the NHL having plans to come back now. We've got the MLB. This is going to be looking like, as I've said in past episodes, and I keep saying again, this is going to be looking like some of the best October sports we've ever had in years, because every single major sport is probably going to be playing during this time if things go to plan. So I think that I am ecstatic for this whole MLB finally being back. We're being able to see all the things. I know we were talking before this about all the different feuds, about all the different teams and where we think they're going to be going. So I can't wait to talk about that. That'll be some future episodes in our opinions and maybe even a tier list on how we think that each team will finish and all that jazz. But we'll save that for all that for future episodes. But I'm just talking about the MLB in general. I'm super hyped. We're going to be able to talk about it. We're going to be able to just sit and watch it. Maybe not the Cubs, because the Cubs, they're making us pay for their channel to start watching them, which sucks because can't really just turn on WGN or NBC News, whoever is, or NBCSN, which it usually was on.
Wait, are you serious? I'm sorry to interrupt you. For real, they're actually making us do this?
Yeah, they're making for the Cubs. I don't know about this if that's the same for the Sox, but the darn Cubs.
Just the Cubs.
Darn Cubs. So
wow.
It's going to be hard for us to watch the games, but still, I might have to invest just so we could watch it, just like I do with Red Zone. I still watch the same game, so I'm just hyped. Can't wait to see my Cubs get back and hope for the best.
Lose.
They have done sign.
All right. Not only am I excited for the return of baseball as a fan, a viewer, but to see how this 60-game season actually turns out. Who knows? It actually may be a precedent for future years to come. So we know the New York Yankees, what they are on paper. You got Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Gary Sanchez, and the new addition and Garrett Cole, and how they're a juggernaut on paper. We all get that. But I'm not worried about the Yankees here. What I'm excited to see this season personally is a team that's rising, the Chicago White Sox. The job that GM Rick Hahn has done the last couple of years in developing these players or getting players such as Lucas Giolito, Eloy Jimenez, Yohan Moncada, and then they just got a good free agent in Yasmani Grandal. So I'm very excited to see what they have to show there. And for those who didn't know this, For an amount of time, baseball was the number one sport in this country. Yeah, that's right. Number one. It was ahead of football, basketball, hockey, you name any sport. The problem with baseball, though, or you want to call it the pre-industrial sport, some might call it, it's not on like a clock like basketball. It doesn't show athletic ability like football might do. The other problem that it's slow moving is that there's so many games. It's 162 for crying out loud. All these games. So I'm going to compare this to football for just a second. Each game doesn't have urgency to it like football does. 16 games. Every game has importance to it in football. Baseball, you use a doubleheader, no big deal. You got more games coming. Don't matter. So the problem with that being is that you got 60 games here right now. There's going to be urgency for each game, which is going to be exciting to see because, as you guys know, I'm not exactly a St. Louis Cardinals fan here. They start slow every single year, but the second half, they get better. So we shall see what those Cardinals have to show us. But I'm excited for one more thing, and I'll give it back to you guys. The DH will be in both leagues for the first time. And it's going to be fascinating to see the reaction of National League fans who've preferred pitchers hitting for so long and how certain managers are going to be using the designated hitter position. So that would be definitely fun to see.
Am I the only one who's disappointed about this? I'm sorry. For my pure entertainment, I'm disappointed about this. Not for MLB, it's obviously better for the teams. But watching Lester try and bat is kind of one of the most entertaining things I've ever seen. I'm sorry. But, like, I get for a fan how the DH now being implemented in both leagues really helps things out, not only for the players, but for the pitchers. You have to worry about two things. You have to worry about pitching. Most of the time, you're pitching at least 100 a game. And then you have to go up and worry about batting. It's a mental stressor almost for pitchers. So to see that removed is a relief on multiple pitchers in the National League. But it's a disappointment somewhat to fans because you love seeing your pitcher go up there. I genuinely believe this too. I think that it's kind of pure entertainment just to watch the pitchers go up there and try and hit it. It is. It's kind of fun.
So while that's entertainment, I get that. Like, like when the Sox play the Cubs and they come to Wrigley Field, you got Lucas Giolito for batting, for God's sake. You don't really see that because you're in the American League. But I have been on record for saying I want the DH in each league because I feel like it puts more pressure in the game, and you want to see that. In my perspective, I want to see that. Other people, I get that because baseball is some people might say, America's pastime. But the thing is, it's almost like the traditionalists, the people that have watched baseball for so long right now, they don't want that. But other people that are like young, they want to see more action because football has so much action. Basketball has so much action, but baseball doesn't really. So just adding another factor of entertainment might be good.
See, agreed. My problem was with the action. It brings when you don't really, when you pull up a top 10 play from ESPN, you don't really often see just constant people hitting home runs because you see it over and over again. The fun thing you see is when you see a video of Bartolo Colon stepping up to the bat and hitting a home run and the crowd going wild. That's the thing. That's what we're going to lose if we get rid of the DH. It's, as Matt said, it's part of the entertainment. I know it might hype it up, but not every DH is just going to hit a home run every single time. That's not really going to do much. And we've seen that with the AL, that they don't really do it every single time. They're not really even that like amazing when they come up. It's like only like a 30% or less chance they even get a hit in the first place. So it's a factor that some people might like, but it's the part that I think brings a uniqueness to the MLB that forces the pitchers to play, and it forces these younglings that are going into the league to continue hitting like all the pitchers instead of focusing on one thing. It makes them have more of a skill set because who knows? I mean, they don't have to be a pitcher and allow us for all the other things. But the fun fact for you guys to know is that this DH thing, if they're getting rid of it, is supposed to only last 1 year. The commissioners already came out and said that they've already secured that this is only going to happen this year and that the DH will continue. So I know this is all hype, and we'll get to see if fans really like it during this. And if this will be an experiment, kind of like the preseason for the NFL when they try and experiment with some stuff, this is what we're going to experiment with this DH. I don't think it's going to last because the traditionalists are going to speak out and complain and complain and complain. And we're going to basically in the end, I think we're going to continue or keep the DH, as we've just basically changed the discussion, but I enjoy doing that. But I think that the DH is going to stay, and I think the MLB will continue their pitching, have their pitchers come up and have that fun listening to your pitchers get called up to bat and have their whole point of entertainment, like you said.
Listen here. I'm just excited to see a sport on TV. Okay, I'm just excited to see a sport. I'm excited to just see something that is live besides golf, tennis, or even
That's offensive.
I'm sorry, but I don't enjoy watching golf. But
good for you people.
But in order to get live sports, some people had to get up at 5 a.m. to see the Korean baseball organization. That is not fun to watch. Okay, I'm sorry, but like if people were that desperate, yes, they probably did watch that. But personally, me, I am ready to see some more live sports. I'm ready to see baseball, hockey, whatever I can get that is enjoyable to me at this time. I am ready to see it.
I just hope that COVID doesn't ruin this opportunity that we have as sports. At the same time, safety and health for all people comes first.
I couldn't agree with that even more. Yeah, I could agree.
And sports is on the back burner, but we have to get out at some point. We just have to start living our lives to the best that we can. I mean, and this is coming from a guy who's pretty much been stuck inside for 3.5 months, but we have to start living our lives. And hopefully sports brings back a little bit of that normalcy for people, that comfort, because a few weeks after that, most people are going back, whether it's to college or to schools everywhere and universities, and that part of normal is coming back. And so we're just hoping to see a trend upwards towards more normalcy. And it really does kind of start with sports.
Yeah, and I'll finish this with our final thoughts, or at least my final thought, because personally, I think that sports is a huge factor in bringing back normalcy, like you said. As we're basically tired of constantly going and turning on WGN, NBC, ABC, whatever news channel you watch, and just constantly seeing COVID, protest, riots, looting, all this stuff. We're tired of seeing that, and if sports comes back, we won't have to see as much of that. People will start talking about sports. They'll start moving this, and it'll become a priority, and we'll be our brains and the things we're focusing on will move away from all this stress and anxiety that's causing people, and we'll move on to something more happier. And basically the people that rely on it. It's such a passion that people have towards sports, and having them finally come back will just be a huge help and stress reliever for many, many people. And that's why it's such a big deal, because I know the sports is basically shown. It's a point of entertainment. I know it's in the back burner, but it's people's pastime. It helps them de-stress, stop thinking about the horrible things, and move on from that. So that's why I love sports, and that's why we continue talking about sports, because that's all we love to do, and also because it distracts us from what's really going on and basically makes our lives better. So
absolutely.
I just can't wait for it to come back. I'm ecstatic and excited. Any other adjectives I could do to describe how I'm feeling right now, but I just can't wait. And
all right, all. Thanks for watching another episode all about sports. This time around with the MLB. Obviously, we did a previous take on that about the owners and all, but these are our recent opinions. So take care, everyone. We hope you see you for another episode.
Bye-bye.